We begin tonight with continuing coverage on a violent assault near ASU's campus in Tempe, where a group of 5 attacked a victim, punching and kicking him while he was on the ground. Tonight, we're hearing from that victim's mother. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. The attack took place last month outside of a university dorm. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono is in the newsroom tonight. After speaking to the victim's mother, and Bianca, the most important thing here after watching that horrifying video is, how is the son doing?
Yeah, thankfully, she said he is doing okay, but she cannot shake the thought of what could have happened to him. She's speaking out now ahead of Halloween weekend, hoping to reach parents across the valley, urging them to talk to their kids.
We're just thankful that he's okay and he's
a Valley mother.
He's living.
Counting her blessings after her son was violently attacked by a group of assailants. She has asked to remain anonymous.
I don't think any parent should have to feel the way that I feel.
This video shows part of the attack, which happened near ASU's campus in Tempe on September 28th. Her son had been hanging out with a friend in a dorm room and encountered a group of males he did not know. Court records say one of them shoulder-checked him, then left the dorm room. But when her son left later, the group saw him outside and confronted him. He was knocked to the ground, and they took turns punching and stomp kicking him.
It's hard. I have not watched the video yet. I know that there's CCTV and there's even more video available, and I probably won't watch that. Because it breaks your mom heart, but I know that it has to be shared.
Her son was hospitalized with a broken nose and head injury. Since then, 4 suspects have been arrested and charged with aggravated assault. 3 adults and 1 juvenile.
It's like, where are the parents?
One of the suspects, Justin Otis, is the son of a former Maricopa County judge and current prosecutor with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office.
It makes it worse. Almost like the law doesn't apply to them, and it's not fair.
It's why this mother is sharing her family's painful story, a harsh reminder that group attacks are still happening, hoping she can encourage other parents to talk to their kids to prevent another child from becoming a victim.
I just want parents to be aware that they could get that call, and just to have those conversations with their kids at this point.
And because that one suspect's mom works for the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, the case is being handled by the Coconino County Attorney's Office. The victim's family tells me they do plan to see this case through in court. ASU police are still searching for a 5th suspect. We're live in the newsroom. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you. We are just over 24 hours away from over 900,000 people in Arizona losing access to much-needed food assistance. SNAP benefits are set to run dry on November 1st amid the ongoing government shutdown. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is allocating $1.8 million to support food banks across the state, but even she admits that it's not enough to keep families fed across the state. Lines of cars stretched for blocks today at the St. Mary's Food Bank in West Phoenix today, many having to wait anywhere from 45 minutes up to an hour just to get a box of food. St. Mary's already services 50,000 visits per week, with November and December typically being their busiest months.
Because I have no money right now. So he's trying to get some food to eat for my mom, especially for my mom, because she's sick right now.
That we're not getting the stamps. And I gotta take care of my grandson. So it's hard.
Roughly 12% of Arizonans rely on SNAP benefits each month for food assistance.
Meanwhile, local advocates are demanding action, calling for SNAP funding to be restored and WIC funding to be guaranteed despite the shutdown. Living United for Change in Arizona, better known as Lucha, held a rally tonight outside the Department of Economic Security. They say without continued funding, many families will put their lives at risk if they're forced to choose between putting food on the table or paying their bills.
They're going to lose their lives. They're going to lose their homes. They could lose everything. And if you can't feed yourself, how can you even think to pay the bills? How can you think to go to work?
It's important to note that WIC benefits will still be active in November. However, future funding is uncertain. if the shutdown continues.
New at 10, the Phoenix Union High School District is planning to cut jobs, blaming a major drop in enrollment and ongoing funding challenges. 12 News journalist Maria Stobbs sat down with leaders from the Arizona Education Association who sit in on the district's budget committee. And Maria, who are they saying is at risk here?
Well, the district says they're trying to protect classrooms as much as possible, but the decision to cut staff still has many educators feeling anxious about their future. What kind of things have you been hearing from your members after these cuts were announced?
It's kind of the same. They don't know where those cuts are going to lie.
You know, what is my job like? Is my job a potential loss here?
That's what union members are asking after the district announced roughly 6% of its workforce, about 200 staff, will be cut by next school year. Esteban Flemons represents educators in the district.
It's a very nerve-wracking time right now. The economy is rough, so people are worried about, hey, how does this look for my next check?
The district says they've lost about 3,000 students in the last 2 years.
We've known that we were going to be losing enrollment starting in about 2020, and then this last year we saw it a little bit larger than we thought.
The superintendent blames the decline on the expansion of empowerment scholarship accounts, low state funding per student, and demographic challenges, creating a multi-million-dollar shortfall.
None of the districts are receiving adequate funding.
To close the gap, the district says they need to cut about $20 million from next school year's budget, and they plan to start the reduction process in December.
It's going to be a nerve-wracking next couple months for us, for sure.
The superintendent says the first round of cuts are in line with her promise to protect classrooms.
Our main district office will probably be what's most affected at that point in time.
After that, the union says classified staff like janitors, cafeteria workers, and bus drivers could be next. That's the group Anastasia Jimenez represents.
I just want folks to be mindful and give grace and show some gratitude towards those hourly employees. Our classified employees, our educational support professionals are the backbone.
The district says they're looking at merging positions, rethinking student-to-staff ratios, and combining small specialty schools.
When we talk about merging positions or combining workloads, you're on a fast pace to burnout, and you're on a fast pace to losing even more staff members. When we lose staff, we lose quality in education and quality in the services that we can provide.
Now, as staff wait to learn which positions are cut, union leaders are hoping voters back the district's funding measures this November.
If for some reason it were not to pass, then we would have to make additional cuts, which would even stress out an already overworked system right now.
The district plans to meet with impacted staff in November, helping them find other opportunities both inside and outside the district. The reduction process is expected to wrap up by February of next year. Reporting in studio, Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Maria, thanks. Heads up, if you're an SRP customer, you will notice some new pricing starting with your November bill. The utility says the updates will help maintain reliability, expand assistance for low-income customers, and offer new super off-peak plans that take advantage of solar power. Overall, prices will increase by about 2.5%, which works out to roughly another $5.60 a month for the average household. Even with the changes, SRP says its customers continue to pay some of the lowest rates in the Southwest. A northern Arizona police department was after an unusual suspect this week.
Yeah, that's right. An emu was on the loose and just causing chaos in Cottonwood. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly spoke with the officers who were after it. And Chase, they received several 911 calls about this emu on the loose.
Yeah, Green Mark, that emu's name, Frank, the 60-pound flightless bird escaped from home a few days ago before finally getting caught.
This is the end of Frank's wild goose chase, or I should say emu chase, throughout Cottonwood.
They can run about 30 miles an hour, and I guess he had on the afterburners that day.
Officer Kellen Burns with Cottonwood PD says Frank had been on the run for 2 days. People like this posting a video of him wandering through a neighborhood before he was spotted in town.
Our dispatch started getting calls, and the first one came in that there was an emu walking through the parking lot of our Walmart here in town and trying to attack people.
It didn't stop there.
And we kept getting continuous calls as it made its way down the roadway, running into traffic and working its way north. There was an emu or at one point a baby giraffe running down the road.
Someone thought there was a baby giraffe loose out there.
They sure did.
Making officers second guess if this was really happening.
We didn't know if it was a prank call that was being made to the police department or a legitimate call.
Then they saw Frank themselves, but getting to him was tricky.
They're very sensitive to stress, and it can cause them to have a heart attack.
Their animal control officer had a plan.
I don't know if you're aware, emus cannot walk backwards. Their legs don't work that way. So if you can chase them into a corner as they're running ahead of you, that's the safest and easiest way for both you and the bird to get a hold of them.
Calm down, I know.
Finally able to take Frank in without him or anyone else getting hurt.
Frank is doing well now. He's back on his property.
Now, you would think this is the first time Cottonwood police had to go after a runaway emu, but apparently it's not. Officer Burns told me there have been a few other run-ins with emus on the loose because there's a couple ranches around Cottonwood, so they have some experience going after these large flightless birds. Mark and Crebe.
Why didn't they name him Limu?
Limu, I think the name was already taken. It's trademarked or something. I don't know. But Frank is still a good name. Frank's still a good name for an emu.
Emu's great. Maybe we can connect him with Limu, and who knows what'll happen.
That will be our follow-up story, is bringing those two worlds together for a moment that no one will forget.
I'm trying to get the image of the dispatchers thinking a baby
giraffe? We have a 711 in progress.
Who knows? Yeah, they're going to have to start this.
Frank is on the loose again.
Yeah, if this isn't the only time they've gone after an emu, they got to create some sort of code for that.
I know.
Like that.
They do. They do. All right, good stuff, Jay.
Only in Arizona. All right, Chase, thank you.